everybody. It's Miss Carolyn and I am excited to be practicing yoga with the little people. I hope that you'll join me. Today we're going to do some breath movement and stillness together, which is really what yoga is. And so I hope you'll have fun and just enjoy yourself. You'll notice that I am on a towel outside. We don't have to have a yoga mat at all. And I love doing it outside. It's super nice because I can hear the birds and I can see the sky and look at the trees. And I was thinking that, you know, part of what yoga is just paying attention and being mindful. And so what I did, sometimes it's really cool to be out in nature. And whenever we're mindful, in my mind, we're practicing yoga. And so one of the things I love trees. And I love the branches. And I love how, like, if I just picked up some, you know, random sticks, random branches that had fallen down. I didn't take them off the trees, don't do that. But I just picked them up and look at all the differences I have here. Like I've got some, you know, one of them is kind of broken here, but it's still attached. And it's got multiple parts too. It's got this part, and then it's got this part that's fully attached. And then here's sort of a medium-sized one, and here's a shorter one. Here's a really, really long one. And believe it or not, this is gonna be hard for you to see, but this one here has kind of a vine wrapped around it. It must have had a vine from last year. And so it's like a little curlicue around the branch. I think that's so neat. I might even save this one. And then here's a teeny tiny one I found, and this is going to be hard for you to see too, but it actually makes a letter. It makes the letter L. That's got the L sound, right? So anyway, I just think it's really cool to see all the differences in all the branches, and they even sort of, like this part, this branch here, when I touch it, it feels really smooth. But this one's really rough. It's got like little deposits of something on the outside. So they feel different too. And I think it's fun to spend some time outside and just explore and notice what you find. And that is actually a bit of yoga in a way, paying attention and looking at things and really seeing them and noticing how they feel. So I hope that you'll do some exploring and see what you want to explore. Maybe it's not going to be branches, but each time we get together, I want to look at something different and new together. So I think we're going to start off this way. I did this on an earlier little clip, but we're going to rub our hands together like this, and we're going to create some heat. And then we're going to put one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. And I'd like you just to breathe. And what do you notice? I notice that my hand on my chest is moving and my hand on my belly. They're both moving. It feels really good to breathe this way. Let's do it again. Rubbing my hands together, creating some heat, and then putting my hands over my eyes and feeling just that gentle heat, that gentle warmth on my eyes. It feels a little bit like a caress. Rubbing my hands again together. And there's one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly again. And taking a nice deep breath. Awesome. So one of the things I want to show you, we'll use these sometimes. I have these really cool bells. Doesn't the sound really pretty? Sometimes we're going to use the bells to remind us to just take a little pause and maybe take a breath. And you can practice with your hands, like on yourself, or you can practice a different way. Anything that feels good is gonna be just fine. All right, I have little notes because I want this class to be so special for you. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna stand up. Oh, by the way, I was sitting on a block. You don't have to sit on a block when we're sitting together. I'm a little bit older than you, so I'm probably gonna sit on a block, but you don't need a block. You can just, you know, sit crisscross applesauce on the ground if you want, or you can sit like this. It's really up to you. But we're gonna stand up, and I've got something kind of fun here. You might have heard this before. It goes like this. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Have you done that before? Let's do it again, but we're gonna go a little faster. Ready? Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, eyes and ears and mouth and nose. That was awesome. I don't know if I can do it, but I'm gonna try one more time, just a little faster. Okay, here we go. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, eyes and ears and mouth and nose. I did it. Sometimes when I get to the face, I mess up, but I did it today, so that's awesome. So, you know, sometimes we're gonna do yoga poses and we're gonna be talking about our shoulders. Sometimes we're gonna talk about our hips. We might talk about our feet, or we'll talk about our head. But we're also actually gonna talk about a couple other places. Sometimes I'm gonna mention the crown of your head. Can you figure out what I'm talking about? What makes you think of a crown? Like a king or a queen makes a crown? This would be our crown, the crown of our head. Why don't you just tap the top of your head right now? Oh, that feels kind of cool actually in a way. Just don't tap it too hard, but just notice how it feels to tap your head. Have you ever actually tried tapping your head and rubbing your belly? That's challenging. Anyway, so tapping your head, this is gonna be our crown, and then this is gonna be your tail. Like if you were a dog or a cat, you can think about, or I guess a horsey, you can think about how they have a tail right here. It's not necessarily, I don't mean your bum, I mean your tail right kind of at the top of your hips in the back. So we're gonna talk about places of the body as we go through some of our yoga poses. So I wanted to just show you that. And then we're very often gonna come to a very special pose, and it's a standing pose. And it's called mountain pose. And so the first thing is I want you to stand with your feet, you know, about the hip width apart. That means that it's not wider than your hips, it's just around here, but just go ahead and come standing. And then why don't you rock forward with me? Oh, I'm coming towards my toes a little bit. And now I'm gonna rock back. I'm gonna come towards my heels. I'm gonna come to the center. I'm gonna sway over towards one side of my body, and then I'm gonna sway over towards the other side of my body. I'm keeping my balance. I'm not going real far, but I'm gonna try, in my swaying, I'm gonna try to come to what feels like the middle. And I think I'm in the middle now. Do you think that you're in the middle between the front and the back and from side to side? See if you can find the middle. And then we're gonna take our arms out. And I want you to imagine that you're gonna give a little bit of press into the ground with your feet, and you're gonna imagine that your feet are going into the ground even as you feel like you're growing taller. And I want you to imagine that you are as strong and as mighty as a mountain. Like, can you be as strong and mighty as a mountain? I'd like you to take 3 beautiful breaths, being strong and mighty as a mountain. Let's take them together. One more. That's awesome. You know what? Oh, this is my dog. I'm gonna get her real quick. She's like, what do you want? Okay, So this is my girl Gracie. And sometimes she might be out with us if we're practicing. So I just want you to meet her. I think doggies are the most perfect little creatures. They are so sweet. But this is Gracie, and I love her so much. So if you see her at any point during our time together, you can just wish her, so you can say, hi, Gracie. All right, so like she's exploring right now. She might stay with us, and that's okay with me. All right, so we're gonna take our legs a little wider now. And did you notice that I pointed my toes out? I've got my toes pointed outwards like this. And then I'm gonna take my hips back and I'm gonna come up. And let me add my arms. So this, my friends, I'm gonna call a moonflower. So we're gonna come down and back up. All right, you got that? Let's try it together. Down and back up. All right, we're gonna do 10 of these. Are you ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Do you notice I'm taking a breath as I do it? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Awesome, and this is a 5-pointed star, and I'm gonna be the biggest, boldest 5-pointed star I can possibly be. I'm gonna take a deep breath here. Oh, that felt so good. I'm gonna let my arms come down, and I'm gonna bring my feet back together, and I'm gonna be in mountain pose again. Do you remember how it goes? Do you remember finding yourself in the middle between the forward and the back and the side to side? Let's take a breath in mountain pose. Awesome. Okay, so this next one is, it's really, really fun. You're gonna love it. We are gonna pretend that we're going into, or that chairs. We're gonna pretend we're going into a chair, but there's a tricky, fun thing about this, so watch. I'm gonna sit my hips back. It's as if I was gonna go into a chair. I'm gonna bring my arms in front of me, all right? But then I'm gonna become a rocking chair. I'm gonna rock forward and back, forward and back. Can you see me rocking? Forward and back. Ooh, that's challenging. Forward and back. Can you be a rocking chair? Forward and back. One more time. Forward and back. Awesome. Bring your hands up to the sky. Look up. And then bring your hands over your head as tall as you can be. And then let your hands come down through the middle. Very, very good. Okay, we're gonna do something else now, and it's also in standing. So here I am. I'm still sort of standing with my feet. You know, they're not quite touching. They're a little bit far apart. This is gonna help you a bit for your balance. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to bring one foot up. And if it's challenging, that's okay. You don't actually have to go real far. See what you can do. We're gonna bring one foot up, and then we're gonna bring the other one up. How'd that go for you? One, and then the other. And then here, check this out. This is gonna make it just a little bit more challenging, but I know you can do it. So we're gonna bring one leg up and the same arm on the same side. And then we're gonna let it down. And then we're gonna go the other side. We're gonna bring the other leg up and the arm. And then we're gonna let it down. And let's do it. We're gonna do 10. 1, 2. Are you sticking with me? 3, 4, 5. I hope you're counting with me. 6, 7, 8, 9, woo, 10. Awesome. Did you do the whole thing? Did you count? And by the way, if you start to kind of wobble or something and you have to pick yourself back up, that's okay. You know, that happens all the time. You should see, sometimes I'm wobbling. That is perfectly all right. So that was called puppet marching. And sometimes you can pretend that you're a puppet by doing some puppet marching, and just see, you'll notice that some of that is called balancing too, and you're gonna notice that you're gonna feel stronger and you're gonna keep your balance better as you practice some of these things together. So I'm very excited. All right, so next we're gonna come down onto the ground. And so I'm gonna come down, and this is something that I really do think you will like, because we get to pretend that we're a type of animal. In fact, 2 different kinds of animals. So here I am, and so I've got my wrists are under my shoulders and my knees are under my hips. I'm going to take a couple breaths just in the middle here. This is called tabletop. So I'm going to come and just into tabletop and take a couple breaths, but then I'm going to start moving. And the first thing I'm going to do is this. Can you guess what I just was? I'll do it one more time. Let's see if you can guess. That's right, I was a cat. That was a cat. Can you see it? Can you see the rounding of the back? And my dropping my head and my tail? Awesome. Okay, let's make another animal. Ready? This is what we call this next one. I'll show it to you first. Now I'm gonna lift my head, I'm gonna look in front of me, I'm gonna bring my chest a little forward, and my tail is gonna tip up towards the sky. And then I'm gonna go in the other direction. Whoops! I'm gonna go in the other direction to the cat pose. So this, my friends, is called cow. And this is cat. But guess what? We can make sound when we do this. Are you ready? I'm going to do it a few times, and I hope you'll do it with me. Here we go. Meow. Moo. Meow. Moo. Meow. Moo. I'd like to have you do a couple. Can you do a couple for me? I hope that you enjoy making animal sounds, because that is a really fun pose. And sometimes when we're good together, I'm going to do a movement, and I'm hoping that you'll say out loud what you think it is, and you'll try to remember what it was. So that was cat and cow pose. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is one of my very, very favorites. And we are going to come back up to standing for it. So I'm going to come up, and here's what I want to do. I want you, hopefully you can see this, I want you to take one of your legs, and I want you to put your heel, see my heel? I want you to put your heel in the front of the other ankle. All right? So my toes are still down, and that's okay. That's okay. My toes are down, but my heel's on my ankle. And this, my friends, is part of tree pose. It's where we're kind of we're mostly standing on one leg, and we have the other leg not as much on the ground. Now, you can even maybe bring your leg up off the ground if you want to. Maybe you've practiced this with your parents. If you're going to practice tree pose with your foot up higher, I just don't want you to place it on your knee, okay? I want you, it can be below the knee. That's the only thing I'm going to ask about that. But you don't have to take it off the ground. Sometimes at the start of practice, it's good to just keep it on the ground, because you can grow how much strength you have to stay in the pose. what our goal is here, we're gonna work up towards having, over the weeks, we're gonna work up to see if we can take 3 breaths in this, okay? So for today, I'm just gonna keep my toes down. You can bring them back up if you want to, but here, and you can bring your arms like this. You can take what I'm gonna call cactus arms. You can take your arms up to the sky, or if you want, you can make a heart tree, which is what I like to call it. So, are you ready? Our goal is 3 breaths. Here we go. I'm gonna take cactus arms for today. Are you taking your 3 breaths? We're gonna take 1 more. Woo, there, I almost lost it. Awesome. All right, there, you did it. Oh my gosh, here we go. That's a celebration. You can listen to the bell. When we hear the bell, let's come back to mountain. We'll take a nice breath. Beautiful. Okay, let's do the other side because we want to balance it out. So, do you remember how we're doing it? We're taking the heel on the front of the other foot at the ankle. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna find, so I feel nice and strong in my feet first before I take my arms up. I'm still choosing cactus arms, but you know, you can go to the sky, cactus arms on your hips. You can even do it at your heart, quite honestly, or you can do a heart tree. So here we go. Just take 3 breaths. Awesome, good job. That was so great. I'm glad you're trying. Here, let's ring another bell because it's a celebration. Oops. Next time I'm gonna let that last longer. Okay, so let's take another breath in mountain. And did you recognize how pretending that you're a tree is a lot like pretending that you're a mountain? Because trees have really strong roots and trees stretch up high to the sky. So if you're practicing this on your own, you can practice that really strong legs into the ground and then strong growing up through the crown of our head to the sky and whatever you want to be, all right? Whatever you want to be. You could have your arms out like this. It does not matter. Okay, so far today we have learned, we've felt our breath, right? We have done mountain pose. We've done some moonflower movement. We have done some puppet marching, remember that? Yeah. We have done some cat and cow. I'll show that to you one more time when we're down to the ground. And then we've done tree pose, right, on both sides. You gotta remember to do both sides. There's one more pose I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna go down to the ground again. Hopefully my little earbuds are gonna stay in my ears. So, remember how I get on all fours? I go to tabletop first. My shoulders are over my wrists and my knees are under my hips. And I can round my spine and let the breath out. As I exhale the breath out, and then I can inhale, coming forward. And this part is cat, and this part is cow, and you can make sound if you want. That's meow, moo. Awesome. All right, so the last pose I'm gonna show you today, I'm gonna move our bells. The last pose I'm gonna show you today is called child's pose. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our hips down towards our feet. And I'm gonna take my arms in front of you, in front of me. Taking my arms in front of me, and I spread my knees a little bit. You can have them under you if you want. It's really whatever you want to do, but I spread my knees a little bit, and I'm taking my forehead down to the ground. And I'm just gonna rest there. Like, this is a great time to just take a little rest. So I'm gonna take 3 breaths while I'm in child's pose. I hope you'll try it with me, okay? All right, how did you do? Did you feel your breath when you were in child's pose? Did you feel how you were inhaling and exhaling? Do you know what that means? Do you know what it means to inhale? The inhale is when the breath comes in to our bodies, and the exhale is when the breath goes out. So when we inhale, that's when, remember this part? This was an inhale. And that was an exhale when my chest lowered and my belly came in. That is inhaling and exhaling. And it feels really good sometimes to just stop and inhale and exhale and just notice how it feels to be able to breathe. We're really lucky that we are breathing. So, thank you so much for practicing with me. I had a really good time. And I hope that you will have a super time just practicing yourself, and you can practice anytime you want. You can see if you remember how many of the different things that we did together, because next week I'm gonna try and see if you remember, okay? So then what we're gonna do every single time that we get together at the end, we're gonna bring our hands together. And we're gonna find our hands right at the heart, okay? Right at the chest, in the middle of your chest. And then we're gonna say something, it's called namaste. And how I like to think of it is that all the goodness and light in me honors all the goodness and light in you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you namaste. Take care, everybody.